Hello everybody and welcome back to this tutorial, and right now let's continue with coding our server. So what we did in the previous video is we defined some of the variables that we're going to need. Some of them we already used and some of them you're going to see why we need them later on. We defined our socket object as well as set the socket options, as well as defining different objects to our server underscore address. So basically consider this server underscore address as some kind of an actual variable that is going to store all of these options, such as for example the IPv4 connection on the port, on the IP address 192.168.1.7 on the port 50,004. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do right now, so let me scroll all the way down, is we are going to need to call the bind function right now. So we define the server underscore address and we are going to use these options in order to bind with our socket. So bind, and what we are binding is simply our sock. As we can see, it is defined right here, and we need to call a structure which is called sock addr. So struct sock addr, and make sure that you add this star right here. So basically you open the bind, you type the bind function and then you open a bracket, type sock, comma, and open another bracket, and in between those brackets you call the structure sock addr with a pointer to the actual server underscore address. And the reason why we are using this sign is that this sign actually defines the actual memory location of this actual variable and not the variable value itself. So basically we are using the memory location to this variable. And also another option we need to specify is the size of the actual variable. So the size of server underscore address, which will be the amount of bytes that this actual variable stores. And at the end, make sure that you specify dot and comma. So once again, you open the function, the bind function, you call the socket object that we created, you call the structure library onto our server address, so pointing to the memory location, and also specify the size of the actual variable itself. So if you're once again confused, you go to the Google search bar, type of, for example, size of in C, and it will tell you right here the size of operator in C is most common operator in C. It is a compile time unary operation used to compute the size of its operand. It returns the size of a variable. Basically this is all you need. It returns the size of a variable. Okay, so you can do that for any function you don't understand. So the next thing that we're going to call is the listen function, and we're going to use the same options from our Python programming. So we're going to call it on our socket and also listen for 5 incoming connections and specify dot and comma at the end. And right now in the next line we're going to use the help of our client length variable that we defined at the beginning of our program. So what we need this client length variable from is we need it to define an actual variable which is going to store the actual size of client address. So right now, because we are soon going to accept the connection, we need a variable which is going to be in our case client underscore length, which is going to actually store the size of the actual client address. And we already know that the size of the client address is already defined because it is defined in this line as a part of the structure sock address underscore in. So it already has a defined value or defined actual size. Therefore, we can store it before accepting the connection in the client length. And at the end, specify dot and comma. And the last part in accepting the connection is to actually call the client underscore socket. And therefore, in that actual variable, we are going to store the accepted connection from our socket, and we are going to call something similar as in the bind function. Just this time, we are going to call the structure sock addr to point to the actual value or the actual memory of the client underscore address. And instead of specifying simply size of server address, we can simply just specify client length, because the client length is equal to the size of client address. Therefore, we can simply just type right here client underscore length. Good. So now, right now that we accepted the connection, we can do the same thing that we did in the Python programming, and that is to actually enter the while true loop. And there execute the commands that we need. In order to actually enter a while true loop, you cannot simply type while true, just like we did in the actual Python programming. You need to type something else, and in this case, you can type while and then in between the brackets specify 1. So what this means is that basically while 1 is equal to 1, I will execute everything inside this loop, and we know that 1 is always equal to 1, therefore this actual while true loop is going to be executed forever. So it is the same principle as while true in Python, and right now the same we did in the actual if statement, we need to call these two curly brackets, and everything in between them will belong to this actual while true loop. So we're not going to code this while true loop right now, we're going to do it in the next video. So for now on, we binded our socket with the server address, we're listening on the socket for the 5 incoming connections, and we also accept the actual connection inside the client socket using these variables right here. Once again, for you beginners, this might be actually really hard for you to understand, but my advice to you is to actually keep a track of this actual code. First of all, finish it till the end, see if your program works, and then even after watching these videos and searching on the internet for some functions, even if then you don't completely understand this code, just read it a few times up and down, search for the same functions once again on the internet, and also simply just run this program and see how it works. After some time of actually discovering different functions, what they do, how they work together in C, you will start to understand this program on a whole nother level. For me as well, once I started learning C, all of this was actually quite hard for me as well, because it first of all has a different syntax than any other programming language, and the second of all, it is harder than any other programming language, well, without actually assembly, that is the machine language. We're not going to go into that at the moment, but simply just follow my advice and just go through the code a bunch of times, as well as search the functions on the internet, and you should actually understand this program in no time. Okay, so that will be about it for this tutorial, and in the next one we're going to code the actual while true loop. So hope I see you there, and take care. Bye.